This is an introduction to Cepheus Online, a tool for streamlining your Cepheus engine traveler games, whether you're playing in person or online. Something I've been working on for a few years in my spare time. I've used it on a long campaign with my players in my group. A few short things. Maybe you can use it too. Okay, let's start off just talking a little bit about what it is, and then also dive in and show you some stuff, and then show you how to set things up from scratch if you want to try it out. This video isn't planned or anything. I don't have a script. I'm literally just talking. So if I start rambling on, that's why. Here we go. Okay, so this is a tool for playing traveler games online, but I'm actually using the Cepheus Engine SRD as the rule set because it's an open source rule set and there's no sort of licensing issues or anything, depending on what I end up doing with this system. So, but it's not that much different to the current version of Traveler. So if you want to read the rules, they're all in here. Part of the reason I also did this was because I could get a lot of data from this website. So that's all been fed in and integrated into the system. Another thing you can see, if you go to cepheus.onl, that's where you can get to the site. Here, this video in the middle is a quick demo I did a while back, but it's going to be replaced, no doubt, with this video when I'm finished. So that might look a bit odd, but we'll see. And there's also a Discord group. Not much on there at the moment. We were using it back when I was running a game, some people sharing some stuff. If you want to talk to us, that's the place to do it. Okay, so I've previously logged in as someone. This browser will be the GM view, and then I'll log in as a couple of players in a second. One thing to note is this works well on a phone or a tablet. So a use case that I've tried out is running a game, you're GMing, and you've got your phone in your hand, and you can quickly see the character sheets and do dice rolls, and other players around the table can have their phone. So you can use it in person, if sort of an alternative to having stuff on paper. So, I think it's nice. There's also reasons to like having stuff on paper. So anyway, let's have a quick look at what it looks like on a phone just to start off with. So this is an emulator of an iPhone. Let's go to the website. Okay, so you see the same thing basically. So this is not currently in the App Store as an app. It could be, but it's a lot of hassle to do that. Maybe sometime. At the moment, if you want to add this to your home screen, so it's like an app, you click on, at least on Apple, to say you do it. It's a bit different on Android, but you've probably done this kind of thing before. I can add this to my home screen here. Actually, I don't want to do it that way because then I don't get a nice thing. Just a second. Okay, let's go in. Okay, yeah, that'll be better. Now I'll have a nice, it will show that on the desktop rather than a screenshot of the first page, which just looks nicer. That's the only reason I've done that. Okay, see, now we've got that. Okay, yes. Right, okay. I accidentally hit shortcuts. It's a bit fiddly to use this emulator. Okay, let's have a look. So you can see it on the phone, it acts like an app. Now, there's no chrome around the edges. If we enter, I need to log in. I'll log in as a user I've used before. existing user logging in. Okay, so the first thing I see here is some games that are visible to me. So, or I can create a new game. So when I say game, it's like a campaign or a separate thing. Generally, that's what you do as a GM, but you might want to just create something just to mess around or just because you want to create characters. Games are visible here if people have made it available to spectators or if you're in the game or if it's yours. So this one is owned by not the user I've logged in as, but Bob. And Bob's previously invited me to his game. So let's have a look at what that's like. Okay, so this is the interface. So the interface is the same on the desktop as a phone, but it's built to be phone friendly. And that has another benefit in that you can have it in quite a small browser window on your computer. You don't have to have it full screen, and you might want to you can have multiple browsers logged in as the same user if you want to see slightly different things on different browsers. That's sometimes something that's worth doing. The general layout, so over on the left you've got the characters, both the players and NPCs, and here you've got a map at the moment, though this area I call the board. So it's like a gaming board with pieces on it. So these are pieces. Some of them are tokens for the characters. And this is just a finger everyone can see to point at things and move. You can put pictures and stuff on there as well. Here we're seeing things from a player point of view. This character belongs to this player. I can tell because it's sort of highlighted, and also get this, well, this dot here shows that I'm currently viewing. You can see if people are currently viewing the screen, as in it's on their computer at the top and not hidden by something else. And also, they're obviously there and logged in. Just helpful as a GM to know when people are actually watching the screen. Okay, here I can click on this and I see my character sheet for this player. We've got these tabs. So this is the main sheet. I can export the character. I'll show you that later. If I want to see their career, I can have a look at that. But usually hide that during a game. Here's where you do dice rolls and things or actions. This is active during fights or if you just need to do an ad hoc dice roll. I'll show you more of this later, but basically, like if the GM says, "Oh yes, do a difficult roll, strength," what would make sense here? Don't know, veterinary medicine. Maybe you're delivering a horse or something. Who knows? Okay. Then we see this is the roll you're about to make. You can also add just an arbitrary DM to this, and also the GM can see all this and set it up for you or tweak it before you do your roll. Click on that to do the roll. Got this nice physical simulation of dice rolling. And then we see the result of the roll here. Also, what you last rolled is this number here, and that flashes when you just do a roll, so everyone can see you just did a roll, and you can see the player's previous rolls here. This very small number to the side is initiative. So if you're in a fight and you've had to roll for initiative, that would come up there. Let's do that quickly just so you can see. Okay, they're both on the same initiative. So he got moved down. He's probably got a different dex. So his dex is lower, so he got moved to the bottom. Okay, there's a few other little bits about this little area. Like if during a battle you haste, you can see that there is indicating that person has hasted or is acting hastily, and also the initiative changed. So that's part of Cepheus, that your initiative can change during a fight. You don't have that in the new Traveller 2 rules. Okay, right, so that's a little bit about the action tab. Also here we've got equipment. So Currently has a laser pistol and some mesh armor. If we looked back at the action tab, we can see that's currently equipped. So during a tactical fight, these values are taken into consideration doing calculations and stuff and such. Okay, so the items panel where you have your equipment, it will keep track of your funds. So and there's also, you can select weapons and things. These are all from the Cepheus engine rules, but you can add equipment from elsewhere if you need to. So let's I don't know, add a laser rifle. Boop, there it is there. If I want to see the information on it, I could do that. I could click here. I could edit the information. So you might want to customize something. So a quick way to get something in the list is to pick something similar, and then if you need to change it a bit, you can tweak in here. This indicates that I'm carrying it, in that that's lit up. If I press that, I am now not carrying it, and you'll see that the carrying weight changes there. I can remove it again. Yeah. I can also download a ledger. Okay, this is a bit annoying to see on a phone. So maybe I'll show you that later, because you need something to view a text document. It's quite easy on the desktop. But some Traveller games, there's a lot of buying and selling going on, and it can get a bit overwhelming. So being able to download a CSV file of all the characters' purchases, and when they've sold things, and when they received payment for missions or whatever they're doing. It's very useful, this we found in practice. And here's just generic notes. One thing is that in this system, you never really have to save anything. It's all just saved right away, and it's got multi-user, multi-edit. So most, you can have several people editing the same area at the same time, and it sorts out if there's conflicts and so forth. Yep. Okay, so that's a quick view of the character sheet, and then here I've already shown you can move these around. I don't think this person isn't actually on the map because I only created them recently. Anyway, that was a quick sneak peek at what it looks like on a phone. Let's go back to this, and as I said, I'm already logged in here as Bob actually, so I could go into the desktop view. It makes a cool sound, and you can see that Bob has some other things here on the side. So note if I go back to the simulator, the idea behind this layout is that you could have quite a lot of these, and they might go pretty far down the screen. I think it's fairly practical in actual use, that I haven't really ended up with more characters in play than there's room for on the side of this phone screen. If there did, there's a scroller that comes in, but makes it, you start to get a bit fiddly. But getting a nice phone interface you can just use with your thumb, you need to make a few compromises, I guess. Okay, so here you can see we were playing through the Def Station module as a test. Probably a good idea to explain this would be if I just, here I'll log in again as Rob, which is the same as the user on the phone. Okay, so I'm Rob. Okay, so here the GM, see a little green dot. Here I'm Rob, same as on the phone. I see pretty much the same thing. Okay, so what would be a good thing to talk about next? I'll just have a quick, we'll have a quick look at these buttons down the side. So that this, which you don't see over here, so these are the GM tools. This is if people are in a tactical fight and they've rolled for initiative to go to the next character. So if I press that, you'll see that this moves down to the next person. Yeah, it's actually on for the GM opens their character sheet here. And then we go back up to the top. Another thing, when I get to this particular player, they get to see that. So if they've finished their turn, they can press that to go to the next person. Okay. If the battle has concluded, you can clear the initiative values. You see everything kind of shuffle around a little bit. This is to create a new character. I'll look at that in more detail soon. These are the pieces on the board. So you can manage what people can see and not see, whether they can edit it or not, and you can add and remove things, and you can scale them and give them a name, various bits and pieces going on in there. You can also add, if there are characters here that are not currently present on the board, you can click this, and then they'll appear in the middle here. That is this person. So now she's on the board. Let me just move her over. Just do that because it's set to target. Okay, by default, you can't see her as a player because the GM might not want you to. For instance, these are NPCs. They're not currently visible to players. We can make her visible though by doing this. So she's appeared. This player can move her, but cannot move anything else other than the pointy finger to say, oh, look, that's me. You have all pointed things on the map. As you can see, when you move, it measures the distance. So that's useful. There's another tool you can turn on as the GM to restrict movement. And then it will not let you move further than you're allowed to. So that can be quite useful. Often I turn that on and off during the game, depending on what's going on. The other thing you can do on this map, I mean, this is a very random walk through the app. Okay, so bear that in mind. Okay, you can measure the distance between things. I mean, if I wanted to know the distance between these two things, I can do that and click on one and then the other. So that's handy. Or if I want to measure the distance from her to him, does that. Also, it knows about what weapon she has currently equipped, and it knows that it's currently short range. If I wanted to shoot at my friend for some reason, okay, so I've got a laser pistol, and it also knows that he's wearing a vac suit. Okay, so energy pistol. I don't really have a dex modifier, so this is all likely, it's kind of irrelevant, but you know, if you did have a bonus, you can click these to quickly set that up, or you can always use this to just, if you know what the bonus is, use the slider. Okay, let's shoot at my friend. Well, that's a hit. Okay, so a 9, so I hit with an effect of 1. So then it knows I've got +1 damage. So now I can roll for damage. Okay, let's just close this. Now we can see he's gone all red, or pretty much all red. So he's heavily damaged. If we look at his character sheet, he's only got 3 strength left. So that explains that. It distributes the damage by, you know, first of all goes off the endurance, and then it picks the higher of the two of your strength or dex to go through next. You see that was 9, so obviously went to 0 before the strength. Maybe that's not what you wanted to do, but it's quick and easy, and you can always change it if it's your character. Not if it's not your character. See, this is not my character, so I can't do anything. I can see his stuff, but I can look at more information, but I can't delete or unequip. Well, actually, I can, but I shouldn't be able to. In general, I cannot do anything. Look at his career. Yep. Right. Okay. So yeah, that's a quick demo of how it can simplify combat. So if you have something going on with quite a lot of people involved, it can make things a lot quicker, really. Even if you're around a table and just on your phone, you don't have to do many maths, and you can quickly share the map. So it depends what kind of game you're doing. So imagine you're at a busy pub and you're all huddled around a little table and you don't really have room for character sheets and, sticking some miniatures in the middle of the table, but you can play on your phone. You can play Traveller in strange situations. Okay, so the point of this bit was just to give you a quick overview of things. I think it's just jumping in. I mean, this is what's actually like while you're playing a game, but there's more to it than this, which we'll go through in a sec. I'll just quickly show you some other stuff. For instance, I can share pictures with the players. I might want that to actually be at the top. Yep. And then the finger, I can point and go, yes, there's a handrail. I could unlock it though, and then the player can move it. Depends. I mean, this area is not exactly the map, it's the board, and there are various things you might want to do on there. For instance, in one game we had a job notice board with all these notes on it, like on a pin-up board, and then the players were using this to shuffle around the notes and put them into groups and decide which jobs they were interested in pursuing. So that there's actually 3 visibility states here, because as the GM you might want to know, actually I should be saying referee, shouldn't I? Yes, I'll start saying referee if I remember. Okay, you may wish to see a preview of where it's going to be before revealing something. So there's that. And then it appears there. Or you just don't want to see it at all because it's not relevant at the time. Okay, so that's with pieces, and also the pieces are arranged into boards. So if I go to boards, if I switch to a different board, in this case this is another feature of boards, that you can actually have a embed a website. So this is the Traveller map website. I can show you that quickly while we're here. But the point being, now all those pieces aren't on this board. I've got the actual players that I can add to it. That wouldn't really make much sense for this map, but what other boards have I got? Oh, this is just the SRD rules embedded. If I click here, you can see I've just put in the URL. The width and height's a bit irrelevant for that. But back on this board, which is actually this image, I could resize the image and decide how many pixels. I mean, this setting lets you size the map so the squares meet the token size. If I go quickly back to this, a nice thing with the Traveller map is that the player view matches the GM. So if they're saying, oh, look, let's go to Esperance, and you're like, oh, well, Esperance. Yeah, and then it doesn't work because this is a demo. Okay, well, that does work normally. Just imagine that this updates to show you where you are. Not to worry. Anyway, you can see this is quite useful during a game. I like basing games in the Traveller universe, mainly because the Traveller map means you've got this massive sandbox that's ready to go. And so Yep, and the players really like this. So I'll show you the map working properly later if I remember. If I want to add a new border, basically I just add an image for the background. So I can either add a file, upload a file, or I can just drag and drop an image onto here and it will create a new board. Hopefully I will show you that later. Okay, so that's the boards. This here is the characters. So it's to control this side really, because you might not want to have all the characters in your scenario or campaign active at once. I mean, probably not. So I can add him. Okay, so he's now active here. You don't see him there though, because the GM has to decide if he's visible to the players. So by default, things are not visible. To make him visible, I need to change this. So let's switch to a board that would make sense to have him on it. I mean, he's actually this guy here from what I can see. Currently invisible to the players. If I change his visibility, now he's visible. And then they see him here as well. However, the NPCs, the players cannot see their details. We can also see he's never done a die roll. But actually that's true. He's an NPC, so the players don't get to see his die roll. Or they do. Okay. Right, okay, I'm not saying this is a finished product. There's a few quirks to figure out. I think the problem there was that he hadn't rolled initiative or it wasn't really set up quite right. So, yeah. Okay, anyway. That active disactive setting that you saw in here, I can also change from there. So let's make him unactive again. Okay. Right, well, that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour. There's also a few GM settings in here. For instance, you say you're setting up a game and it's part of a convention online or something like that, and you want to invite players in, and before the game they can create a character, but they're only allowed one go at it. Of course, their character can die in character creation, which is a nice tactic you could use when building a traveler character or Cepheus character. If you don't want to allow people to just delete their character and only get one go at it, you could stop. Well, by default, you can't delete characters. So if I go back to here, if I turn that on, now the delete button turns up, but usually it's not there. Also, you can import characters. So you can export, import. You might want to stop people importing characters. That's by default. But if you want to let people import a character, you turn this on. And then you should see a thing to import the character up here. I can't because this character is complete. So to see that, I would have to create a new character. I could do that now. I think this has gone off a bit off track, but let's just do that. Okay, I'm going to delete this character. Right, now I have no character. So I've got this plus button, create a character. So when you first come into a campaign as a player, you may see other people who've created characters, and you can have a quick look at them and not change anything. And you'll just see this button to create a character. If you hover over it, it says create a character. I guess you do need to learn the interface a little bit because there is the issue, whoops, that is completely the wrong thing I wanted to click, that this all has to work nicely on mobile and you have limited real estate. So if I have big messages all over the place saying click here or do this, then it's problematic, but I guess something could flash up and give you some info. All right, well, we're back on the phone. Let's make a character on the phone. Okay, click that. Now this is my character. It's blank. Because I click that. Now I can see I could just import a character from another game. But generally that wouldn't be there, and delete wouldn't be there. So my only option is to just create my character, hope they live, and if they do, that's my character, and I don't get another go at it. That's how I like to do things. um, I'm I'm going to get into some of these other settings later. You can let people create several characters if you want. Generally, there's just one, and you can invite people into games and things like that. Let's go back to that later. Let's have a quick look at creating character, and we'll do it on the phone, which is a fun thing to do while sitting on the bus or just messing around. I had a couple of people who literally made hundreds of characters just because they got addicted to it. Okay, so right, okay, so you come into this view. Basically, the way this works is that you have highlighted buttons. Like the things you can do are restricted. So actually, you don't really have much choice. You have whatever choices would come up while randomly creating a character using the Cepheus engine rules. One thing I might do is just show you that this is multi-user and you can see what other people are doing. So, okay, you're the GM, you've invited someone to a game, or they've just come in because they've, well, basically because they were invited, or you added them to your game. They would get an email. I'll show you the email stuff later. I can look at this too as the GM. Then when they add, so well, they probably wouldn't think of a name first off, so we'll do that a bit later. Okay, yeah, I don't know. First of all, let's do the stats. So that's probably where you would start. As you can see, I can see someone did a dice roll and what they got. Let's go through and do all the stats. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Sort of. Obviously from a socially backward background, I guess. Didn't really go to school. Some kind of lower class person, I guess. Well, definitely. Right. Okay. Then you can choose what kind of planet you're from. So I don't know, probably low law or no law. Let's go for low law. Let's go for a low law industrial planet. Okay, so because of that, I get broker 0. I can change my mind, and then this will all update. I can change my mind up until the point I start picking things based on those. I can give the planet a name. I don't know. What's a good name? That'll do. As you can see, that comes up there. But also, as the GM, you may be interacting with the player, so you might go, no, that's not a planet in the subsector. You want to be from this one. And oh, okay, yeah. All right. Now, here you've got your skills box, and these buttons at the bottom indicate you need to pick a cascade skill. And here's our background skills, and this is a button to do our primary education. So the only things I can do at the moment is I could select my gender and keep changing it whenever I want because that is not fixed to the end. I can change my name. This I can't change. I am a player. I can change these until I've picked stuff, or I can export where I'm up to, or I could look at what the character looks like. Their UPP in a classic style if I want to download a file for where I am currently. They're the kind of things you can currently do. Nothing else is really going to work yet. So, right, okay, let's pick, I don't know, he's from, probably slug pistol would make sense. Let's, my primary education, well, I don't have any choice. I don't get any options. If I had a higher education, then I'd get to pick some more, but they're preset. Okay, so I'm actually kind of done now. Then if I'm happy with that, I can try and qualify for a career, or I could just be a drifter or enter the draft. Let's qualify. What should this person be? Let's try and be just a rogue. Yep. Oh, I have been rejected. Well, that's sad. Okay, I could be a drifter, or I can enter the draft. As you can see, that's my only options. I don't really want to be a drifter. Let's just randomly enter the draft. So here it gives me a heads up on what the roles mean. I'm in aerospace. I wonder why they wanted this guy. Interesting. Okay. Now I've got a bunch of cascade skills to pick. So what am I going to do? Let's get slug rifle. This probably doesn't make much sense because I've already got slug pistol. But anyway, turret weapons, piercing weapons. I'm pretty much just picking random things here. Some kind of helicopter pilot. Okay. Now, if I want, I can get anagathics. Let's not do that. Not for this guy. Or just roll for survival. Will he survive? Yes. If you die, you just go back to the start again. So it's hardcore. Right. Let's try and get a commission. I mean, it's unlikely. We'll see. Don't have to. You can always skip. No, not commissioned. Well, we can try again later. Now we get to pick a term skill. So we pick from one of these tables. So you can see what's in the table. Let's go on specialist skills. Some of the dice are very bouncy sometimes. Some players really like how bouncy the dice are and others don't. So we came to some kind of compromise where it's maximally amusing. Okay. Okay, I've picked my skill and now I've got to age. I aged, so that just sorts out the aging stuff. So your stats may be adjusted. You might have to do some dice rolls. Not at this point. Let's re-enlist if I can. I failed to re-enlist. Oh well. Okay, so I've got to switch careers so I can get my benefit now because yep. Let's go for some cash. Was my only benefit. Okay, so we can try and go for another career or just finish the character or be a drifter. I think I'll try and do something else. Let's go back to the rogue. No, he's not allowed to be a rogue. Okay, drifter then. All right, this has gone off the bottom of the screen, but not to worry. Okay, let's click for basic training and we'll get streetwise and roll for survival. I accidentally clicked this button. Let's go back in. This is the button to get back to the game menu. Okay, so obviously I haven't tested this on the phone recently when the page gets very long and now I cannot get to the bottom. But not to worry because we can switch over to here. Right, and you know, this is all in sync and I'm logged in as that person here. Okay, let's not get anagathics. Oh, let's do that. I mean, I might just die. Okay, I survived taking them. How much did it cost? Right. And let's survive. Okay, survived. Let's get a skill. Let's try and increase some of the stats a little bit. Well, I got gambling, not too bad. Let's do that again. Yay, increase my dex. That's nice. Okay, well, this roll is to see if you could re-enlist. You don't have to. May not re-enlist even if I wanted to. Okay. Getting a benefit. Low passage. Right. Let's just say that I'm happy with that. I'm done. I'm going to call this guy Fred. It's not a very exciting name, but there you go. Okay. Let's give him a picture. So I can just drag and drop it here. There we go. If it's massive, it will get resized on the back. If I go back to the phone view, I can see it's there. GM sees it too. Alternatively, I can click here and select an image. If I click that, it will be me. Well, let's just do that because it will be amusing. There you go. um, right, let's go back to this guy. That's better. Okay. Right. Okay, and so he is, let's say he's done. I can see my career again by clicking that if I need to, but generally you don't need to. I can click here and download his, and then you can get it in the standard format. He hasn't spent any money yet on gear. We can do that in a second. Or I can export the character. That probably makes sense if you're a computer programmer, and if you're not, probably doesn't. That's the entire character. So if your character has purchased gear and things like that, all the information on the character would be exported. So you can move characters between campaigns. Even if they picked up gear that's special in your campaign, they've still got it when they import it to the other one. So everything is taken across. That is to import and export. I mean, also players might just want a backup of their character in case they want to use it in a different game later or whatever. Right. Okay, let's have a quick look at, well, I guess we already looked at how you purchase gear earlier, so don't really need to go through all that again. You can see it calculates how much you've spent and the weight and whether you're carrying it or not. As the GM, I just need to click this to get his action tab set up, and then I could equip him with that weapon. And you might want to write some notes about your character. Right. And also you can put a description in here. There. Okay. Again, this all appears immediately for everyone. No need to save anything. It's all in sync. Where's my simulator? There we go. Okay. Yep. He's got his gear. Yep. Pity the scrolling went a bit weird earlier, but obviously need to test that a bit more. Okay, so now we've seen how to create a character. I've talked about the board pieces, the kind of thing GMs can do in a game. That is 90% of this, though a lot now I should show is just how you set things up, so you can do it yourself. Just a minor point, from the GM's point of view, you can do things other than players. So he might be an NPC, in which case you just put in this information. You just type it in. You can change everything. It parses out the skills so that they will appear in the action, but you just type them in really. Yeah. Or you might be an animal or a robot. Vehicles are not yet implemented, but it's working on that. Right, just having a little think. No, I think that's that bit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is start from scratch because that was already set up. So I'm going to just delete everything on this browser. Just so that I don't even have an account. I know, I guess I never mentioned this up to now. This is entirely in browser based. Even if you're on your phone, The installation's just adding it to your home screen. You don't have to install anything. You don't have to update anything. It's always up to date with the latest version. It does cache information locally so that it to speed things up. Um, but if you don't have that local data, you just reload it, so it's not a problem. Okay, so that I've cleared the data out here. If I refresh, now I just got this, which is what you initially see when you come in. I'm going to go back to the very start. I'm going to do the same for this user. I mean, as a player, you're not going to be clearing out all your data. There's no reason why you should ever need to do that. So, but if you need to, that's how you currently do it, using the browser tools. I could have a clear button somewhere if I wanted to, but I think that would just confuse people. Okay, let's do it. Right, so on the left, let me have a swig of coffee, just a second. Right, let's do this. Okay, I'm going to sign up. So this is like just a new person coming along. Oh, that looks pretty cool. I wonder what happens. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, create account. Maybe that could be better signposted, but that'll do. What's my username going to be? Well, maybe not any of them. Let's actually call it Cepheus Online, because that's the email address I'm about to use, and then I won't get so confused. Password. And yeah, as I said, I'm going to use this. I set up a Gmail account just for this test a little bit earlier. So I'm going to look at that in a sec. I've never used it before. Okay, create account. Okay, now what's going to happen is I get sent a confirmation code to my Gmail account. Hasn't turned up yet. Okay, well, while we're waiting for that, let's also create another account over here. And we're going to be Cepheus Player. Whoops, I need to actually create the account. Okay. If I could spell would be good. Let me just cut and paste. Right. Just cut and paste this to save me my typing. Right. He still hasn't got a code. Let's hope. Oh, okay, I put in the sorry about that. The email address should just be ONL at the end. So let's go back. Let's create an account. Okay, meanwhile over here, yes, he just got the code. All right, so then he gets a thing saying, this is a verification code. You want to grab that code. If you're thinking maybe this could have better instructions, you're probably right, but let's say you do it. Okay, confirm. So let's save the password. Okay, so that's the initial view. So I can create a game, or I can see these games where spectators were welcome. Let's have a quick look at one. Oh, this is this game I ran, putting together a whole bunch of classic Traveller modules into a campaign in the Soleimani Rim, which went for quite a while. It was good fun. Click that thing at the bottom to go back. Okay, so yep, let's finish this guy. Assuming I spelt things right and used the right email address and all that. Did he get a code? No. Why not? Let's try it. Let's go back and do that again. Except that will probably say already in use. Um, okay, well, let's just create something called player. Cepheus player. Oh, sometimes it can take a while for the code to arrive. You can also get the code by SMS, but then I have to pay for that, so don't have that. Let's go back to sign in. Now, if I try and sign in as Cepheus player, I haven't yet accepted the code, so it's going to prompt me, see, user not confirmed. So can't get through until you've confirmed you have a real email address, mostly to stop spam. Okay, and that's a player, a new player. Okay, so on this side, this is going to be the GM. So I'm going to create a new game. Here's my game, owned by me, called new. Now let's have a look. No, he can't see that because it's not public. First thing you probably want to do is change the URL from your game from this random number thingy that it's made to something you like. So Space War, that'll do. And we'll call the campaign Space War. There we go. What settings do I want here? Oh, see, I just clicked allow spectators and then it appeared over here. That's kind of making it public. Let's not have that just for now. Yeah, that all looks pretty good. Well, that's my game set up. Right, so it's a bit boring at the moment. It's a blank screen, nothing to see here. Now, one thing you might want to do is just create a game like that. You don't even have to update this thing at the top. See, if we have a look at this now, I changed that, so really I need to go to Space War now to get back. Yeah, and I'm back where I am. That's your game URL. I can create characters, and that might be all you want to do. Just use the character generation thing we saw earlier. You could do this on a phone, and you just make lots of characters for something to do because it's fun. That's fair enough. That's a use case. Uh, let's quickly make a board just because otherwise, well, you can see how you do it from scratch. Let's find let's see what this is. That looks like a fairly small file. That'll do. Whatever. Right, there's my board. Okay. But you know, if that was really the background, I might want to make it like really big. There we go. Except probably not that big because it looks terrible. Okay. And you know, if I want to put pieces on the board, well, maybe I want to just have a pointy finger and just drag and drop them on. And then that's that. Let's make it visible. Let's see what would happen if I allowed spectators. So spectator sees that. And spectator, well, you can move the screen around because you can zoom in and out and pan. You can't move the things on the screen. However, if I do that, then you could. So a spectator could go, hey, what's that on the ship? And yeah, I might want to lock that. And of course, this could be a map. One thing I've found very good is there is a set geomorphs. This is what you want. Okay, so a guy has spent absolutely ages making all these geomorphs in a classic traveler style, and you can just drag and drop them in, and then you can create complicated maps on the fly. So the kind of games I run, where I generally just make stuff up as I go along, I found these are super great because it's like I've just got this infinite world that I can just keep adding the geomorphs. So that, along with the traveler map, means that you know you just like if you like me, you just totally wing your games. No worries. Very quick and easy to do. And even now we've got these new AI tools, it's so easy to just come up with ideas on the fly. I'm intending to integrate some of that in at some point. Okay, so that's that bit. And then, but here we were a spectator. But what if I'm not a spectator? What if I'm not allowed to see that? I mean, that would be a good thing to look at. What if I'm here and I was a spectator, but then the GM referee, sorry, changed his mind. Now you can't see that because you're not allowed. So back to here. Okay, right. What if I want to invite people to my game? So let's invite Rob. He is the guy who uses, this is this user here. So Rob cannot see Space War. Okay. If I do invite Rob, no, I don't need to know his email address, but he will get an email. I would have to log into another Google account again, and that would be a bit boring to show you. But anyway, if I know the player's name, I can just invite them in as long as I know their username. If they can just tell me. Or I can put in their email address and send them an invite, and then they will receive an email. And if they already have an account, that's fine. They're added to your game. Otherwise, they'll be led through the whole create an account process that you just saw a few minutes ago. I would have to do another example to show you all that, and that would take ages, so let's not worry about that right now. Anyway, let's invite Rob, and then hopefully it will appear right away. Or maybe not. Okay. um, let's just go out and back again. Right. Am I actually logged in as Rob? I think I am. Well, not to worry. That should work, but it's obviously, so if I do that. He is a player because now he's got that to create a character. And if I remove that, then he doesn't. So you can see Rob has been added, but there's some little fiddly thing going on with the previous screen list, which I will have a look into. And of course, if I don't allow spectators, he still can see it. And then if I removed him, he cannot see it. So, yep. All right, so that's inviting an existing player to the game. Also, when I do this, they get an email saying, "Oh, you've been invited to this game. As we're using the username Rob. This is the URL, and all that kind of stuff." Okay, other option. We've got someone who, well, it's just another. Well, now we can see the email. In fact, yeah, that's what we're going to do now. So let's invite Cepheus player to my game. Ah, okay, what happened just there was, well, actually, I'm not really sure. Let's have a quick look. Did I get the email? Yes, I did. It's given him a different username just there. That's interesting. Okay, so his name is actually Cepheus player underscore one. I think when we were setting things up earlier, I actually created player twice. So this is actually what happens for a new player. It didn't recognize Cepheus player. Interesting. Okay. Oh well. Well, this is what I was talking about earlier. So you can just put in oh, I know why that happened, because I put in the email address. What I should have done is just go Cepheus player and invite, and that's the original Cepheus player. Yep, and then I see a different thing. I would just see you're invited and you can log in as that. Okay, so then you can just click on that and go through. In fact, it will just work like that because I'm already logged in as that. And then you're never really logged out. So very easy to get into a game. I might have made it seem complicated just due to my incompetence there, but not to worry. At least you got to see the two different invites. So let's have a look, because you can have multiple accounts. They can have the same email address. So, this guy might have two different accounts. It gives you a temporary password. So if to see this, I would need to clear things again. Just a second. All right. So see if it's player one. Oh, I seem to be terrible at typing in a demo, so I'm just going to cut and paste these. Okay. So let's assume that he might not have ever used this before, and this just got this invite saying, hey, yeah, just log in with this. Okay, then it's saying, well, you need to change your password because that was just a temporary password. Change the password. Now I'm in. Okay, so I didn't have to do all that stuff about the code because you already know it's a real email address because this guy obviously received this. Another thing to note just quickly on the emails is there is an unsubscribe link. If you wanted to have nothing to do with Cepheus Online and you don't want people inviting you and don't want any contact with them, you can click that and it will take you through to something where you can prevent that. Yeah, well, at least it used to be. Okay, so it doesn't work right now. Right, yes, a few loose ends here. This is a system in alpha testing, so that's how it is. Okay, right. Let's go back to here. What else is there worth talking about now? That's all how you invite people in, basically how the system works, how you create characters, what you can do with it, sort of some use cases like just making characters, maybe on your phone on the bus, playing a game where people are on their phone and you're in sort of huddled together in person, or you just play online. So playing online, which is what we were doing, we used this as a virtual tabletop, and then we used Discord for voice, mainly because Discord's very good for voice communication. You can use it for video as well. I have experimented with adding voice and video to this. There's other online virtual tabletops that do that. That's an option. It takes up screen real estate, whereas Discord you can run in the background, say on your phone. And well, if you want video, I guess that would take up some room. And then it's hard to find a way to do that for free. So at the moment, this is all just free. The way it's hosted means that it costs me virtually nothing at the moment to run. Though if I had 1 million users, I might get a bit of a bill, but that would be nice. And at least I would have the email addresses for lots of people who are interested in this kind of thing. So that would be all good. Um, so perhaps it would be good just to talk about just briefly where things are at with this project. So I was working on this, as I said, part-time for quite a while. Let me switch to one of my games because then I can, while I'm chatting randomly, show you some stuff. Oh, he's not the GM of this, of course. Uh, okay, well, I won't do what I just said because I was going to show you some other boards, but not to worry. Um, yeah, I've been working on this for a couple of years just in my spare time for something to do and to figure out some things I wanted to work with. I have some other things in, let me show you this. Some other ideas of what I could add. So, hope this works. Looks like it's working. Yeah, the way the board is done is actually 3D. It's just you're seeing a top-down view. My experiments with 3D showed that on a phone, it's actually kind of annoying for things to have depth, but the option is there. And this is one of my earlier experiments where, I've got a little man that runs around. You could design your avatars and import them. It's something I've experimented with. It is quite good fun so you can walk around, to be honest. So this is cool. This guy's not really. This is very much just a test. This one I'm showing you now. So over this side doesn't seem to really be working, which is unfortunate because I wanted to show you two people on the screen at the same time. Um, just very reactive. Like you see the ping up the top. It's quite fast to see. Let me just have another go here. Right, oh, there we go. If I walk over there, I should see me coming towards him, assuming things are working or it hasn't started up another instance. Yeah, that's what's happened. They're not on the same server. Try again. Right, there we go. Yeah, so, you're seeing some very experimental stuff here. Okay, it could be like this. Okay, maybe that would be good for some people, could be an optional thing. Also, this is all Cepheus. I really like the Cepheus rule set. I really liked Classic Traveller. That's my favorite game. That's what I prefer to play if I can get my players to play it, which is, not all the time, but, sometimes we play Traveller. So Cepheus based on the first edition Mongoose Traveller, pretty similar to that. It's an update of Classic Traveller. I think it's really good. All the changes they've made. The tactical combat is significantly better and really smoothed out character creations. So, Classic Traveller is a bit. Siri. Sorry, Siri. Siri was talking to me. Sorry. Um, yeah. So, yes, using the Cepheus engine. So the main reason I've done that is because I didn't really know where this was going. Maybe I want to turn this into open source project and then I can't have licensed materials in it. Maybe I want to turn it into a commercial product, but again, then I'll have to make a deal, I guess, to include licensed property within it. Yeah. However, within my own game, we did start incorporating some stuff from Traveller 2 just because the players really liked all the equipment. So some of the equipment they're using came from there. And the whole system is very flexible in that the rule set that you're using is basically a big file, a JSON file, which you can edit. So if you want to edit all the careers, you can and do that. You can edit the whole system really, as long as it's fairly similar to Cepheus engine. So there are some different versions of Cepheus or different products based on it, like Hostile or Sword of Cepheus. This could be very quickly adapted to those systems just by editing that file. Or you could make up your own Cepheus game. However, the file editor type stuff I haven't worked on yet. You would need to know how to edit a JSON file, and currently there's no way to upload it, but if you sent it to me, I could add in your rule set for your game. I could build a rule set around second edition Mongoose Traveller fairly easily. There's not that many huge differences. The character creation's a bit different. The tactical combat, if anything, is simpler. A lot of the equipment I've already parsed out and have in files for my own private use. There are other areas of Traveller games that are not currently covered, like Starship Combat, but that's just a matter of having the time to do that. I mean, this is very much geared around the games I run and what I find useful. So I don't find Starship Combat comes up very often because I don't really run really shoot 'em up type games. It's more sort of a thinking game, and shooting massive weapons at super expensive spaceships is generally seen as a dumb idea that is the last resort. So very few Starship Combat scenarios in my games, and that's why I haven't done that. A lot of it is just talking and sharing pictures, and the fact that characters, they can, when they need to do a die roll, again, I don't do a whole lot of die rolling, but it's quick and simple here. But the whole character creation thing, I think, is what people found the most useful. I've used other virtual tabletops, but they all tend to annoy me in some way, or are overcomplicated, or clutter up the screen with a lot of nonsense. Whereas this has a nice clean feel, focused on the thing I'm doing and not a bunch of other random stuff. So most of the screen is just filled up with your pictures. So another thing I have tried is having players sitting around and having this projected up onto a screen and you just have it full screen. If I can remember how to do that. Enter full screen. Okay, here we go. So you could have this running full screen. Well, that's not exactly what I wanted to do, but okay, it's on the right track. Just imagine this up on a projector, the GM controlling that from his phone, who's standing next to the screen, like doing a presentation, and the other players could be sitting in the audience on their phones. So you could run something like in a seminar room or something like that, and that could be quite good fun. I have tried that out. It was good. That's another use case. I mean, you could just use this as a tool to do presentations as well, as long as it involves some little traveller characters in the corner. Yeah. Okay, so that's some things I'm thinking of doing next. Yeah, I should probably leave it at that. Otherwise, I'll just start rattling on for ages. In fact, I've probably done that already. So thanks a lot for your time. Hope you test this out and have some fun. Maybe create lots of characters. Give me some data. That'd be great. If you want to talk about this, you can join the Discord. That would be the best way to do it. Okay, thanks a lot. See you later.